Money FM 89.3, the best of your money. Money and Me on Your Money, only on Money FM 89.3.
Renters, I have you on my mind this morning. Residential rents are expected to fall as much as 10% in this year. This according to a Bloomberg intelligence report end last year. And the anticipated drop may be even greater if their macroeconomic macroeconomic headwinds worsen, or if a major crisis develops. So, what are your rental options, and have you considered co-living? Apparently, starting from $1.8 thousand, you could be looking at living space, utilities, housekeeping, a fully equipped kitchen, no rental fees, a flexible lease that starts from 3 months, and you could be looking for an entire room maybe, or a whole apartment. How can this be? Time to meet the founder and CEO of a Singapore startup, the Assembly Place. Eugene Lim is the man behind the Assembly Place, which is a co-living startup founded in 2019, and it offers members choices from 1,800 rooms in more than 130 locations. Eugene, good morning. Happy New Year.
Good morning, Michelle.
Thank
Happy
you
New
so
Year.
much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
You were a real estate agent many, many years ago.
Yes, that's right. I started my career as a real estate salesperson 17 years ago. I just celebrated my 17 years anniversary.
Oh, fantastic. So from real estate agent, you have turned entrepreneur. How did that happen?
After practicing real estate for probably around a good 10 years, so I joined a real estate developer on the client side of things for 4 years, after which being in real estate for 14 years then I kind of know the residential landscape environment in Singapore. You know, you're in the space long enough. Mm-hmm. That's when I realized that, hey, why not start up to do something, that's related to real estate.
So interesting that you, in 2019, start to think co-living could be a thing that takes off. Not just a fad, but something that's here to stay. And you start off by renting out your clients' apartment, is that right?
Oh, yes. So what happened was that 2019, I was just toying around the concept of co-living. So I had lunch with my ex-client of mine. Mm-hmm. So he owns a landed house just behind Paragon. Yeah, so he was complaining to me that nobody wanted to rent my house. So, and the rental yield was bad. That was back in 2019. So I straight away tell him, I said, hey, look, I'm running a social experiment. Why not I rent the house from you? So he was very shocked. He said, what are you going to do with my house? I said, I want to do co-living. At that point in time, 2019, nobody really understood the concept of co-living. Yeah. So I say that, I want to run a social experiment. I will spend money to turn around your asset. Then I will rent it out to like-minded people to come together, to stay together, and to build a community. So that's how we started the Assembly Place. Amazing.
What gave you the confidence that co-living was going to be something that takes off here in Singapore back in 2019?
Okay. At that point in time, it also came as a coincidence whereby I've got a lot of colleagues who are from Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah, working they were colleagues of mine. So they were complaining to me one day in the lift and say that, wow, Eugene, I come to Singapore to stay. I rent a room. Yeah. Over the weekends, my landlord went crazy. So he just barged into my room and off the aircon. I think we all heard of horror stories whereby our friends from overseas rent a room in Singapore and they co-stay with the landlord, and the landlord implement a lot of strict restriction. You cannot on your aircon 24 hours. You're not allowed to cook in the house. You can only wash your laundry
have to inform when you bring friends over.
Yes, and most of the time you can't even bring friends. So that's when I realized that we have got a lot of foreign friends who come to Singapore to work, but yet there isn't much choices, safe environment for them. That's when I realized that, hey, why not I come up with something like a co-living, like-minded people come and stay together. So it was really more of, I knew that there was demand, and I knew that there was supply in the market as well, whereby landlord is unable to rent out some of their old houses due to wear and tear, and they didn't want to spend money to renovate the place. Because to the landlord is that, well, I've been renting my house for the past 10, 15 years. It works for me. I do not mind taking slightly lower rental, but why should I spend money to renovate because I'm not the one staying there? So that's when we come in to fill the gap both from the demand and the supply side of things.
Okay, so are you seeing more vacancies this year?
Yes, I think we have read a lot of report. Rental prices have dropped over the past one quarter. So I think this is also due to there's more projects that has been completed over the past 6 months. Due to the COVID delay, a lot of projects were delayed, but we are seeing more and more supply coming up on stream as well over the next couple of months. So all these were kind of, I don't think the rental market will crash. It's more of to stabilize the rental prices. If not, things will start going crazy.
Because it peaked like over 15%
Yes.
last year, so it is coming down. What does this mean for your business? Will you have to start providing more competitive prices?
I think for our business, it's more of, as co-living, we are probably the only one that can give flexible solution. If today, if Michelle, you want to rent your apartment out, if someone come to you and say, Michelle, I only want to rent for 3 months or 6 months, you will definitely say, no, I want to have a stability of 1 year to 2 years of rental.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of foreign worker expatriate who come to Singapore on a short term, 3 months, 6 months on a project basis. So where are they going to stay? Hotel, they will be, you can't open the hotel window. So it's not practical for you to stay more than a week in a hotel. Service apartment is not a cheap alternative as well.
Absolutely.
It's very expensive. So we are here to solve the market for all these expatriate who is coming here to Singapore. So for those who say that I only need a 3-month solution, we provide that solution for them.
So from 1.8K, I could get a living space.
Yes.
And what does it mean on your site when you say no agents fees?
Okay, so what happened is that a lot of tenants who are looking for room rental in Singapore, most of the time they have to pay a fee to the agent to help them to source for all these spaces.
Yeah.
But so for us, when the tenant come to us, there's no fee. they don't have to pay that additional 1 month of the room rental fee. Yeah.
Oh, so if it's 3 months, they're just paying 3 months rent.
They just pay 3 months rent. But
They're not paying a security deposit of any
they
sort.
still have to pay a security deposit.
Okay.
But there's no other fee involved, firstly. And secondly, most importantly, is that they just put their luggage and stay. They do not have to call Singapore Power to set up your electricity bill. They do not have to call Singtel or M1 to set up Wi-Fi. So everything is provided for.
Including housekeeping.
Including housekeeping. So we provide weekly housekeeping as well. So they can even go through we have built a very robust mobile application that all members who stay with us, they download the app, the monthly invoice is there. It will also show you when your lease start date, end date. If you have issues staying at the place, example, your light bulb fuse, all you need to do is to take a photo, you press enter, it will send to my operational team. So we can arrange the technician to go down to fix whatever issues that you have staying. So it's a fast-free solution for them as well.
Wonderful. So are you essentially subletting other people's houses out, or do you own these spaces?
Okay, we adopt an asset-light strategy. So most of the time, we actually operate assets that are owned by family officers, high net worth individual. A lot of them are own buildings, 5-story buildings or row of shop houses. So what we do is that we go in, we provide space planning solution, and that's when we operate on behalf of the family office as well as the asset owners.
Okay, so the you call them members, I noticed, not renters.
Yes.
Are they signing sort of a stamp duty? That
Oh yes, they
renters leasing arrangement.
under the regulation, they have to sign a members agreement,
Okay.
which is also quite similar to a tenancy agreement. So if they stay for 3 months, 6 months, they still have to pay e-stamping. So these are something that the members will have to pay as well.
How do you stand out? It's quite a crowded space. There are a couple of other operators as well, co-living operators. How do you differentiate yourself?
Okay, so the SMA Place, we are a big believer of building a robust community. In the past, we only got 6 rooms. So to build a community of 6 rooms, 100, 200 rooms, it's tough. But today, we got more than 3,000 members in our database. So what we do is that we conduct, once every month community event.
Cool.
So we just have a very big Chinese New Year Lo Hei with our member as well. So we understand that 90% of these members, they are foreigners. A lot of them are in Singapore for the first time. So when you're in Singapore for the first time, you do not know a lot of people. You do not know the culture here. You don't have a lot of friends. So that's when, other than just providing a physical or four wall for you to for you to stay, a roof over your head, there's a lot of software involved. We ensure that when you stay here for 3 months or 6 months, you build meaningful friendships. That's when this community event comes in to fill that gap as well. We
You have
even
to pay
conduct
extra to attend these events?
no. So
Oh.
we make it free of charge. So we even conduct hiking in MacRitchie, Treetop Walk, and all these events. You'll be surprised that when we launch it, quite immediately over the span of the next 2-3 hours, it'll be fully taken up, all the slots.
I have a revenue stream for you to consider, Eugene. I'll lead the workshops. We can have dating workshops.
Oh yes, that would be great.
Don't you think these co-live?
In fact,
How
we
to
got
communicate with your date.
In fact, we have got two members who got to know each other while staying with us.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So this is quite important because if you've ever lived by yourself, you know that it can almost feel like solitary confinement when you go back to your apartment and it's just you in an apartment. And especially if you're just here for 3 months, 4 months, it's hard to get an instant community. But this is what the assembly place will provide. And you also provide... How small are these co-living spaces? I mean, will I have access to a space where I can think and work and be creative and write? Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's one thing to have a small bedroom, but are there larger communal spaces that they can have access to? Say, if the apartment that they live in is quite small, do they have access to other apartments?
Okay, so a lot of our space are actually born out of historical shophouses, a row of shophouses. So there's a lot of thoughts that we put in. We have got a very strong project team in the assembly place, and we have our own in-house designer. So other than just staying the space in a row of shophouse, we actually create co-working space within the space itself.
Wow. So you can get out of your apartment and then walk to the co-working.
No, within the whole asset itself, the shophouse, you
Okay.
can stay on the 3rd floor of the shophouse. But on the 2nd floor, there's actually a very big communal space for you to work. There's even, some of our asset even comes with pool table.
Very nice.
Yeah, pool table. So after a day of work, they can play pool, with each other. Yeah.
Very cool. Why do you think co-living is here to stay in Singapore and it's not just a passing fad?
I think it will definitely stay in Singapore. The reason is we are solving the gap. We are really solving that gap, that 3-month solution, that 6-month solution. I think that's one gap that we can fulfill. Second thing is community. I think the young people these days, when they stay, gone are the days whereby, I just rent an apartment all by myself. I want to meet people. I want to gain new experiences, especially for someone in their early 20s coming to Singapore to work for the first time in their life. There's a lot of excitement. I want to make the best out of my 6 months or even 1 year in Singapore. So when I come here, other than, working hard, I can also have a life. I can have a good social life, work, live and play. All comes in together. So I think the young people these days, their thinking and their mindset is very, very different. So they're more open in meeting new people.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to my younger colleagues in office. Most of them got to know their second half, their better half through a dating app. In the past, we don't have things like a dating app. So these days, I think the world has changed. The young people mindset have changed.
So you started with 6 rooms. You now have 1,800 rooms across 130 locations. I know you had a really impressive fundraising as well. Was it 55 million?
No, 5.5 million.
5.5
that was
million.
2021, October.
Amazing. What has allowed you to scale up from 6 rooms?
I think we are very blessed as well. I think during our fundraising in 2021, people who invested in us are actually real estate people. Yeah, so we have a lot of real estate people who actually invested in us. So I think all this really helps. So when we want to have access, to spaces, so they are always the first line of defense, for the real estate salesperson. So I've got many individuals from Propnex, ERA, Huttons, SRI that actually invested in us.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so those connection helps. And also we have high net worth individual family office who own real estate, who invested in us as well. So for them, when they invest in us, they believe in our team. So when they acquire real estate, so they will always think of the assembly place. So this is something that we are always very grateful of.
Are you also expanding your property portfolio?
Yes. Our next city we are going to is in KL, Bangsa area. We're opening in April. There will be a 66 rooms co-living building, which is under construction right now.
Wow. Right now, operating in Singapore, projected to operate in Malaysia, will be operating in Malaysia.
Yes.
And then I guess it's global domination. You are such an amazing person. You started working when you were in university?
Started 22 years old when I was second year in university.
What drove you to get into real estate then, right?
So at that point in time, it was really, I will not say it's survival. It was just more of I want to make my own money to pay for my tuition fee, my university fee, because I think that at 22 years old, taking money from our parents to pay for your school fee, especially after serving 2.5 years of national service. So I thought it was not the responsible thing to do. So that's when I go into real estate as a salesperson.
Yeah.
Just with the motivation to pay for my school fee, that's all. And lo and behold, I didn't know that 17 years have gone and I'm still doing real estate.
And so something kept you in the industry. I'm sure it's an amazing industry.
Oh yes, it's an amazing industry. In fact, I was telling a lot of my nephews, cousins, younger cousins, say that real estate is a good field to be in.
Yeah. But Singapore getting more and more dense. The amount of time that people come to Singapore and leave as well, some might say, is increasingly variable. What does this mean for the future of your co-living business? I suppose the wider change in Singapore in terms of density, we're getting even more dense. Does this mean that you're going to have to look for different kinds of property? Or are you very specific in the kinds of properties that you pick up and include in your service, the assembly place?
We love aging assets who are old, because when the asset is very old, that's when you have that opportunity to do creative space planning, to turn around the whole asset. As an example, historical shophouses. Most of the time, historical shophouses, pre-war, the second floor, third floor, the flooring are all timber flooring. Everything is breaking apart.
Yeah.
But that's when there's great opportunity for you to refurbish the whole place and to turn it around. And historical shophouses is something that, there's not many of all these shophouses around in Singapore. So when expatriate, when they come to Singapore, other than just staying in the typical apartment or condo, they want to really experience living in a different kind of asset class in Singapore. So shophouses works for them. In fact, we are managing a lot of shophouses in the Little India and Jalan Besar vicinity. So historically, all these shophouses on level 1, you can rent to minima or hardware shop. But these days, when the assembly place come in, when we turn around second and third floor to be very nice, chic, co-living space, level 1, the asset owner is able to rent out to a better tenant as well. You can have a cafe.
Wow.
You can have a retail shop. Because these days, when the retailer know that the assembly place is on level 2 and level 3, commercial tenant is willing to come in to pay a bit more.
Wow, that's amazing. You're actually changing the neighborhood
Yes.
that you move into.
Yes.
The assembly place. Because people know that you bring, I suppose, a certain kind of tenant with you.
Yes, that's right.
That is fascinating. Do you also have sort of a construction arm? How do you do these turnarounds cost effectively, I guess?
So we have our own in-house project team. We got a team of 4 of them who work extremely hard turning around assets. So we work with a few main contractor who we are very close to that can give us, most importantly, speed. Speed of turning around asset is critical. Secondly, cost effectiveness. So we got that 3 to 4 group of contractor that we work closely with.
Wow. So we know that during COVID, construction was held back for many people. Even just renovating your home took much longer time. What did COVID mean for the assembly place?
Okay, so COVID, at that point in time, it really changed in the way we turn around the space. What can we give to our members? So the members during COVID work from home. A lot of them is a by default thing. So more than just having a safe environment for them to stay, we need to start thinking about pockets of communal area for them to work. Meeting space, breakout area. So with that, during COVID, a lot of our assets which were under renovating, we actually quickly turned around and in the midst of renovation, we quickly changed our plan to ensure that we actually future-proof our co-living space. So the idea is that for someone who comes to Singapore to work, their bosses may say that, okay, look, by default, you are working from home because there's no need for you to go to the physical office space. Then it's more important whereby if the member choose not to leave the building, can they stay, work, and communicate in a singular building? So to me, that is powerful.
Yeah.
That means you can choose not to step out from your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can choose to, come out from your room, go to the communal area, you can work. After 5, 6 p.m., imagine that suddenly all the different members start gathering at the pool table. Everybody have a beer, everybody distress, everybody start talking together, or you can order Grab food coming together.
Wow.
So this is something that we've actually created.
Amazing. What is the secret behind your success, Eugene, for growing a business and scaling it?
I think hard work. I think there's no secret to any success. I think hard work, being very disciplined.
Spotting a trend in 2019?
Spotting a trend, it's just the start of everything. But I think staying true to what you're committed, have clarity in our business strategy. I think my team behind me has worked very, very hard. So it's not just me alone. I think a lot of them have sacrificed, joining me. A lot of them come from quite big firm. When they first joined me, 2019, 2020, a lot of them leave.
Established names.
Established team and come and join the assembly place. So this is something that we are always very grateful for.
You must really believe in the company. And
yes.
Look at that, 1,800. You have over 3,000 members from 77 countries now.
Yes, that's right.
And with an app.
Yes, with an app.
It's growing. Well, thank you so much for coming by and sharing the story of the business with us. And we wish you all the best in the year of the Wood Dragon, Eugene.
Thank you, Michelle.
Money FM 89.3.